this is what I found puzzling, to say the least. You know, we know that people, the anointed, have a great way of filtering out reality in order not to disturb their vision of the world. But this takes it to new heights, you know, to ignore what was going on there and to somehow be able to reorganize that in your own mind as some sort of resistance struggle or push to regain occupied land. That takes an extraordinary feat of denying what is in front of your very eyes, doesn't it?
It does, and you have to remember that these are the people that often say that words are violence, or latterly they were saying, you know, they had all these slogans saying that silence is violence. But when you see real violence on a grotesque scale being enacted in front of you, that is called something very, very different. That is seen as not violence in the way that normal human beings understand it, but is interpreted by them as a blow for freedom, as an entirely legitimate activity to be celebrated and to be somehow boasted about. And that requires a certain psychological inversion, where you are so narcissistically obsessed with your own identity and with identity issues that you simply get switched off from processing the real things that are occurring in front of your eyes.
Yeah, well, this is the fruit of the identity politics mentality, isn't it, Frank? Where you put people into categories and their moral worth is ascribed by their category, not by themselves. And here you have, in their classification, the oppressors and the oppressed. Then this is what it leads to: a complete desensitization to actual human feelings.
It does that because once you begin to systematically demean Jewish identity, and you begin to systematically demean the identity of Israelis as somehow existing on a far lower moral plane than yours, then you begin to, in a sense, develop, first of all, double standard, that things that are not normally okay are quite legitimate when it's targeted at Jews. And therefore, you have the development of a new kind of anti-Semitism. And then after a while, you develop an idea that somehow the world will be a better place if you began to almost cleanse the world of these individuals. And it's interesting because the decolonization theory that they have suggests that one of the reasons why violence is perfectly all right is because the people who've been colonized are have been mentally ill and mentally distressed by their experience. And the way in which these individuals can regain their mental health is through an act of violence. So from their perspective, what Hamas is doing or did in southern Israel was a process of self-help, a kind of therapeutic intervention, which, okay, led to the loss of many lives and the brutalization of thousands of people, but at the same time, it allowed the Hamas fighters, to regain their self-esteem and their self-worth.